welcome to my channel. So today I'm gonna cover the rest of the sections that is required for visitor visa application for your spouse. In my previous video, I actually covered the IMM 5257 form. If you missed that video, so I just added the link at the top right corner of the screen. So go and check that out if you need any help to fill up that form. So in terms of the supporting documents, so there are a bunch of supporting documents that you need to submit with the applications. The first is the travel history. So let's say if you actually traveled outside of the country of your residence or citizenship, and you have the, for example, visa stamps or visa, um, expired or unexpired visa, doesn't matter, entry or exit stamp, boarding passes, right? um, so you can just scan them and upload them here. For passport, make sure you upload the same passport that for which you were that you were actually submitting for this application, and invitation letter, and proof of financial resource of support or proof of means of financial support, and also the purpose of travel. So I will cover these four letters in shortly after discussing the rest of the sections. So for digital photo, it's just the regular size, 35 by 45. For proof of upfront medical exam, so let's say if you already done a medical examination for your for your spousal PR, right? For in our case, right, my wife already did her medical examination for spousal sponsorship, right? So she actually uploaded the e-tracking sheet that the IRCC panel physician office actually provided her, the e-tracking sheet which has an IME number as well as her UC number, right? So you can upload the e-tracking sheet here to prove that you already done a medical exam, because this section is populated. Because if you see my previous videos, we actually say yes that in the next sorry, in the last 12 months, whether we did the medical exam or not, because medical exam actually valid for 12 months. So since you already did the medical exam, you do not do it twice until officer asks you to do so. So you can actually upload the same e-tracking sheet. um, for the purpose of travel, yeah, I'll just cover that in a bit, and family information, and I'll also cover this application form. So for proof of relationship, so for example, for our case, we actually uploaded, I mean my wife actually uploaded the marriage certificate, right? So that's your civil status document, and depending on your situation, you can upload birth certificate, you are visiting your siblings, right? Now I think let's dive in the invitation letter, because it's really important. The invitation letter you have, and this letter has to be written and signed by your spouse who is actually inviting you to Canada, right? Because in this whole video, it's how you can apply visitor visa for a spouse. So that's why I'm just focusing on the spouse part here. But in general, visitor visa, it's across the board, it's same, right? Whoever actually inviting you should provide you that letter, right? um, so yeah, let's dive in to the invitation letter. So if you see my screen, right, so I'll just highlight. So this is just a standard invitation letter that we wrote for that I wrote for my wife, right? So you know it just the basic stuff, the dates, and then you just mention, right, some, and you just try to mention that some of the things, that when she'd be visiting, right, and how long you guys are married, and you already applied this spousal peer under family class, the application is under process, right? And here you can actually provide some of the details about your wife, that where she lives, her passport number, and also like state a reason what she is doing. Let's say if he's currently studying, or let's say if he's working somewhere, right? So just a bit of a background of her. So as I mentioned, right, so this invitation letter could be very dynamic, so there is no hard and fast rule in terms of how you do an invitation letter. So what I tried to do here is just to follow the instruction, right? Whatever the instruction they actually said, right? So I try to, you know, um, write something based on based on their instructions, right? So basically, how long they are going to stay, why they are visiting, right? And for the spouse visit, so it sometimes gets a bit trickier, because why you as a husband not visiting, or let's say why you as who actually lives in Canada not visiting the other country, right? So here it's better to state the reason why you cannot visit your spouse, right, back in your home country. Let's say it could be a work related reason, right? Could be health issues, right? Or maybe you just visited like a couple of months ago, right? It doesn't make sense for you to visit again, right? So there are those kind of stuff. And here I would say, like, for our case, because I was sponsoring my wife to visit Canada, so that's why I also mentioned that, okay, um like all my financial details, right? So how much I have in my Canadian bank accounts, right? What was my designation, right, in my where I'm currently working, right? What was my annual income, notice of assessment, so all those kinds of informations you can provide just to validate. So there are basically three sections. One is why she is visiting, why you cannot visit, right? And also that if you're sponsoring her, right, definitely mention, right, how much money you have to support her overall travel, right? So, and make sure the funds that you are showing here should also match that we actually um, mention in the application IMM 5257, where it say that how much funds she or he has available to come to Canada, right? So make sure the amounts actually matches, right? It's good to match always, to have a consistency. And here you can attach your, if you're a permanent resident, all right, so you can just attach a permanent resident here as an annexure. um, and you can proof, you can add some additional proof if you have them, right? But at least you should have, you should attach the proof of status in Canada. So that's given. The other is just the additional, if you have, that's good. And make sure it should, you cannot actually um, upload multiple files with a single section, right? So in the single, this is just a one file you can upload. So make sure you actually merge them. So make sure you actually merge. Let's say if you have multiple documents you are attaching, so make sure you actually combine all of them in one single PDF, right? Otherwise you cannot actually upload multiple PDFs with a single section, right? So everything can should be merged in one file, right? So this is the overview of the invitation letter. And now the proof of means of financial support. um, so in this case, again, you have to write the invitation letter to your wife, because you are the one inviting her. And similarly, for proof of means of financial support, since your wife is currently dependent on your supports, right? So you have to, write a pledge, right? Like a promise of financial support that should be visiting here. I'll be covering all the expenses, and what are the supporting documents um, uh, that you can attach to show that you have the financial stability to fund her visit. So this is also, I also followed the same instruction, right? So they actually provided the instruction that what proof you should you should show, right? And a letter includes the amount of money of this person will be providing with supporting evidence of their relationship to you, along with the letter proof of this person has sufficient funds can be shown by submitting many of the many of other documents, right? So I just followed the same pattern, right, or the instruction they actually provided, and this how I actually came up with the with the with this template. So for proof of means of financial support, so we actually uploaded the same document that we actually used for this case, because in our scenario my wife was dependent on me, and I'm the one who is actually sponsoring her visit, right? So it should be the same document. You should upload basically the same document. I don't know why IRCC have the different sections, but it actually works for us. We actually uploaded the same document because I'm the supporter, right? As well as I have the proof of means of financial support to to cover all the expenses uh, required for her visit, right? So you can also go through the instructions and see, but it would be the basically the same documents. I mean, same letter. Now come to the purpose of travel. So here, uh, my wife actually wrote travel itinerary, what she's gonna do in Canada, right? So here, this is also a very, there is no hard and fast rule, so there is no specific format, right? So you can just you can uh, you can follow this format definitely, but I would say um, it's always better to mention what you guys are actually planning, right? If you are going to visit to some other provinces or like some other places, um, like any festivals, right? So just put those details, be very specific, right? So that will help your cause. So your invitation letter and your this itinerary, it's really a key supporting documents that will convince the officer. Yes, so they would be visiting for a short travel, and then she would be actually coming back, right? So here, you can state, in the purpose of travel. So you can just write a letter that when you are planning to visit, right? The state the reason for your travel, right? Let's say if you are employed, uh, right now want to take 1 month annual leave, right, to travel to Canada to visit your spouse. Or let's say if you're a student, right, you want to visit your spouse in Canada, you have a semester break, right? Or maybe let's say if you were seeking job in the meantime, let's say if you completed your degree now, for the next 2 or 3 months he wants to visit your spouse in Canada and then come back, right? And maybe start your career journey. So there are a lot of um, uh, a lot of things, or a lot of um, valid reasons, right? So state the reason, so that is actually relevant to you, and also state the reason why your husband cannot visit, right? So these things definitely also match um, the reason that your husband actually stated in his invitation letter, right? And the rest is definitely some of the your travel itinerary, where you guys are visiting, right? Which places you guys are going, right? Who is funding your visit? So all this related details, so that's covered. That gives a complete picture of your travel itinerary, meaning uh, for how long you are visiting, which places you are going, when you are coming back, why need to come back, right? So those details are very important for the purpose of travel in this travel itinerary, right? And I would always recommend, even though IRCC mentioned that there are like a different types of documents they accept, but I would always recommend upload the PDF documents, and that shouldn't exceed the 4 megabyte size.